Hello, everybody. We are back with Oscars predictions. I am Trevor, and with me I have Thomas. Usually here, he's here a lot.
Yes,
I've
and
locked
I'm
him
here
in.
today. So
I've locked him in a digital cell of my channel.
yes,
Um, he's,
use me as you please.
I guess, sounds horrible. Uh, but we have our November update of Oscars predictions. For some reason, people watch the October one a lot, so I guess we'll do another one.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, we want to just I don't really have any preamble. Let's just jump straight into it. There's been some
yeah.
interesting developments since our last video. But let's kick off with visual effects. So we can go ahead. I have them ranked. Do you have them ranked?
I remember you ranking them last time, and then I forgot to do that this time. So no,
That,
they are in alphabetical order again.
that's fair. That's fair. Well, would you like to kick us off with visual effects?
Yes, so I have as the nominations: Don't Look Up, Eternals, Nightmare Alley, The Matrix Resurrections, and Winning Dune. So no change to the winner there. A couple changes in the nominees though.
Yeah, yeah. So I have nominated so number five, Godzilla vs. Kong, four, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, three, The Matrix Resurrections, two, Eternals, and one, Dune. I think that Dune is a pretty safe lock to win.
Yeah.
And we agree on Eternals and Matrix. I feel like Matrix is pretty safe. Eternals, I've seen some people dropping it out after the film was received negatively.
Mm.
Um,
I mean, a film being negatively received doesn't tend to affect a category like visual effects, and I
yeah.
still think the visual effects in Eternals was brilliant. So
Yeah.
I think it definitely is worthy of a nomination.
Like I think it's maybe aside from Black Panther the best looking Marvel film.
It's
Just like
definitely up there.
I also loved it a lot more than Thomas did.
Yeah,
I have a video on this channel on why plug. Thomas fell asleep during it. I'm just gonna
I
out you.
did. I did. Yeah, a good 20 minutes. It was a good. It was a good sleep. It was a good sleep.
I'm happy for you that you got such a nice sleep.
Yeah.
Um okay. So I think yeah. I mean, people making the argument that like a film negatively received, like Suicide Squad, still won makeup and hair. So like,
Yeah.
I don't really buy into that at all. But then we disagree on our other two. So I have Shang Chi and Godzilla vs Kong, which are two I would say more visual effects type films. And then you went with some Best Picture contenders in Nightmare Alley and Don't Look Up.
I did, and I went with them because if they are being nominated elsewhere, like we heard recently the news about Don't Look Up, that being
Mhm.
very well received by a lot of critics who watched that, and them saying that visual effects was a more major part of the movie than we expected it to be from like trailers and clips or whatever they've shown. So that's why I put that one in. I think if it's a Best Picture contender, it could very well get into the visual effects category just through that, even if they're not the best visual effects of all time. I could see them going in that way. And Nightmare Alley, I did not really think of this as a visual contenders Oscar chance, but it was listed on Gold Derby under visual effects, and I thought, well, yeah, if it's another, it's just the same as Don't Look Up. If it's another Best Picture contender, I could see them just putting it in this category as another nomination. Maybe not that it hasn't earned its Best Picture nom, but just to make sure it does.
So I I don't know. I have to see more of Nightmare Alley to really be convinced that it's a visual effects contender. The one that's really close for me is Godzilla vs Kong and Don't Look Up because I think that Shang Chi is actually pretty in there
Mm-hmm.
personally, just because I think the Oscars will want to recognize that as an achievement in some way, as being like the first Asian led Marvel film.
Yeah.
Um, so I could see, I just, I feel like they'll try and at least nominate that film once. Um, Don't Look Up, I could see happening. Like it's very close with Godzilla vs Kong. Um, I just, if Don't Look Up isn't entirely like we've heard great things so far, I'm still a little skeptical. I still think it could be a bad, like just a bad movie. Um, so I'm a little skeptical, but those are pretty close. My honorable mentions, because I did those again, are Nightmare Alley, Don't Look Up, and then Spider-Man No Way Home. So I do have those three as my honorable mentions. But yeah, it's really interesting with visual effects because like sometimes they'll go heavy on the best picture contenders, and
Yeah.
sometimes they'll just go like blockbuster, blockbuster, blockbuster. So I do think it will be a mix this year, and I think Don't Look Up is the most likely best picture contender to get it, aside from Dune, obviously. But I don't. Do you see Dune losing this in any way?
No, I honestly don't. I think the way that film is looked visual effects wise is just off the charts. I don't think
Yeah.
this is its category to like walk over. Like there are some that it probably going to win, but it might not. This is ones I think it's locked right now, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. You know, because Nightmare Alley, it's not going to be massively visual effects heavy. It's not going to come out the blue and take June. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, like this is a contender for visual effects of the decade.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. But Dune for each of us in visual effects. So now let's talk about sound. So my nominees at number 5, I have Nightmare Alley. Number 4, Belfast. Number 3, No Time to Die. Number 2, West Side Story. And number 1, once again, Dune.
Okay, so we have the exact same picks there. I don't think I changed this category at all. There wasn't really much to, make
No,
me change my mind. So June winning, and then yeah, as you said, Belfast, Nightmare Alley, No Time to Die, and West Side Story as the nominations. I think pretty solid category so far. There are a couple that could definitely get in, but those I think are the five strongest right now.
yeah, the only thing I could see potentially breaking in is Matrix. Like if that sound is really good, I could see that potentially taking either Belfast or Nightmare Alley spot.
Mm,
Um, Probably Belfast, just because like people are saying there's a lot of sound, but like if sound isn't like super heavily featured and Matrix just has a lot of sound, I could see them going for that.
yeah,
Because I feel
I
like
could see
Belfast
Tick
has
Tick Boom as well.
yeah,
Maybe sitting in there. That's a film about music, so it might be something they go for. But I think as of now, this is a solid five.
yeah, Cyrano as well, because they did the singing on like live on set is also a
Wow. Okay.
possibility. As far as like the mixing though, there wouldn't be a lot of editing, which is weird now that it's a combined category. You have to look at both aspects.
Mm,
But yeah, Nightmare Alley. I mean, it's carnival stuff. Belfast, there's supposed to be guns. No
yeah.
Time to Die, lots of guns. Um, Pretty self-explanatory. West Side Story, music, and then Dune. Like I think
Yeah.
that this is pretty much the consensus five at this point.
Mm, I would agree.
Um, all right, costumes. I have number 5, Nightmare Alley. Number 4, Dune. Number 3, Spencer. Number 2, House of Gucci. Number 1, Cruella.
Okay, so we've got the same again. We've got
Yeah.
another clean sweep there because I did have House of Gucci winning last time.
Yep.
We've heard some news about how the film was received, and it wasn't as positive as I was anticipating. Got pretty mixed, so I can see this one of the ones that it gets nominated. I still think it does, yes, because it's got Gucci in the title. It's going to
Yeah.
be quite extravagant costumes, I'm sure, but I just don't think it will win this category more. And as I said last time, I was going to say last week, it was a lot longer ago that we did that, but Corella was definitely my number 2. So it just by default goes up to 1. It's again a film about costumes. So yeah, Corella winning, and then June, House Gucci, Nightmare Alley, and Spencer being the other 4.
Yeah. Again, I feel like this is fairly consensus. I mean, Cruella is like it's the most costumes. Now, House of Gucci, I could still see making a comeback. I mean, we've seen films like this like start out with like a 60. Even like The Last Duel,
Mm,
Ridley Scott's other film this year, started out at like a 50 or 60 on Rotten Tomatoes and is like jumped up to like 80, 90 territory now that it had been released to the public and not just critics. So if this is like the crowd pleasing film of the year, I could see House of Gucci jumping back in because I do think it dropped a little bit for everybody after we
yeah,
heard the first reactions. But I could see it jumping right back in if it's like a big crowd pleasing film.
yeah, yeah,
And then, yeah, other than that, like Spencer, I mean, same
yeah,
costume designer as Jackie. Like,
yeah. And it's a period piece. They love period pieces, so I'd say that one at this point is pretty locked in the category. Whether
Yeah.
it'll win, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but I think it is in the category.
Also, Spencer is like, in my opinion, one of the best movies of the year. Like, I think that it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yep,
Um,
excited to see it this weekend.
yeah, yeah. And then Dune, like space costumes, like I said before.
Yep.
And then Nightmare Alley, there seems to be lots of fun, like carnival costumes. Like it again, this feels pretty locked. If you had to pick, like an honorable mention, something that you think could jump in, what would you say?
Ooh, that is a good question. I'd say maybe if West Side Story has like dresses and stuff like that, I can see that one maybe slipping in.
That's my pick as well. I think
Okay.
that West Side Story is the number six here, just because there's lots of flowy stuff,
Yes. Yeah. Flowy stuff.
flowy, pretty dresses, and the Oscars are like, yay, pretty, and then
Yeah.
that gets a nomination. I don't
Yeah.
know what you take out though. Like maybe Dune. I Even though I have Dune at number four right now, I feel like that's more susceptible to drop than Nightmare Alley.
Yeah. I'd still probably say Nightmare Alley is potentially the weakest, just because we haven't seen anything about the film yet.
Yeah,
Um, at this
second.
point, I'd say that is the one that would drop out, but I don't think that will happen right now.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at production design here. I have number five, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Number four, West Side Story. Number three, The French Dispatch. Number two, Nightmare Alley. Number one, Dune.
Okay, so we got the same winner. I do have June, but then my nominations are similar but not the same. We got Nightmare Alley, The French Dispatch as well, Spencer, and then West Side Story are my four nominations. But same winner there, June again. Another category. This probably should be winning.
Yeah, I think that Nightmare Alley is really close though.
Yeah,
Like,
I think this is one of the less, solid June picks. I
yeah,
think visual effects and spoilers sound they are Junes at this point.
yeah.
But yeah, I'd say this is one of the weaker categories maybe, but it's still it's incredible. It's incredible what they did with the production design. So I think it is well worthy of one.
Yeah, especially how the production design was integrated with the visual effects. Like it is really hard to pin down what's great about Dune because like even like the score and the sound are like super mixed together. Like
Mm,
everything just like works together to create a world. Which is why I just see it getting nominated basically everywhere as far as the text spoilers. Um,
yeah,
just because like they'll just be like, oh yeah, and then this did a thing and this did a thing. So yeah, I definitely think it's winning. Though if Nightmare Alley is like good and it looks gorgeous, because like Shape of Water, I believe that got a production design nomination. I can't remember if it won. It definitely got nominated though.
yeah.
Um, like I think those are really really close. I was debating back and forth really hard on those. But I just think as of now it's hard to go against Dune since it is
Mm,
released.
yeah.
Okay. French Dispatch. It's Wes Anderson. Very like I think French Dispatch is probably like was probably like the early pick to win. But has since
Yeah.
dropped off. And then yeah, we each have West Side Story. So I have Tragedy of Macbeth, and you went with Spencer. So I went with Tragedy of Macbeth just because there's a lot of like soundstage stuff. And they shot it like a 1920s, like a Hollywood silent film. And I just like where it just feels like super fast, but like clearly like on a stage. Um, and just how that's kind of integrated with it also being like Shakespeare. I think it's something that the Oscars could really go for. But why did you go with Spencer?
I went for Spencer for a similar reason. I went with it for costume design. It's a period piece. The reason I didn't go for Tragedy of Macbeth. Uh, Last show we did again, I didn't give it so much love. I've given it a few more categories this time, but again, this is one I feel that it could be too different, too out there for the Oscars. Maybe it is something they go for, but I think Spencer is definitely a safer choice for them to go for. If they are looking at this fifth spot and they're thinking, what do we put in there? Spencer is a safe choice. Whether it's
Yeah,
right, that's a different question. But
yeah. I I like honestly don't know if Spencer's gonna get that many nominations. Like I could see it literally just doing the Jackie
mhm.
of actress, score, costumes. I'm not saying that's exactly what I predicted, but I think that's probably the most likely, even though I really, really do love that movie. It's just like weird. It's different. I mean, it's Pablo Larraín. It's very similar tonally to Jackie, which was weird. So I don't know if they go for it. Like maybe they kind of got warmed up to the idea with Jackie. But I mean, also like juxtaposing it as tragedy of Macbeth, which is like definitely weird. So
Mm.
I think you have two weird movies there, and two movies with really strong production design. At least Tragedy of Macbeth looks really strong from the clips and images that we've seen. So it's gonna be pretty tight for that last spot, but I think the top four are pretty solid.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree.
All right, now into editing. For this, I have number 5, King Richard. Number 4, Nightmare Alley. Number 3, The Power of the Dog. Number 2, Belfast, and winning, Dune.
Okay, so I have Belfast winning,
Ooh,
Dune, King Richard, and Nightmare Alley in common, and then I have Don't Look Up in there replacing. What did you say? I believe.
King
Wait,
Richard.
King.
Or
No,
Power of the Dog.
Power of a Dog. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So similar nominations as a whole. I have Belfast winning because I feel if we are going to give it an award later down the line, they'll want to give it quite a few awards, and I think this is one that I definitely could see them winning. June, we both I remember had slight problems with the editing. So that's why I don't have it winning. I still think it's a surefire bet to be in the category because it's a technical award, and they're going to give as many nominations as they can to June for technical awards. King Richard, as you said, sports scenes, they like them, so and they have a lot of editing in. Don't Look Up as well, I think falls into the same sort of category of a lot of editing equals good editing equals get into the category. And then
Yeah.
Nightmare Alley as well. Just looks like it's going to be a very competently made movie.
Yeah. I mean, like, Guillermo del Toro is going to direct the crap out of Nightmare Alley. And I
Yeah,
think the editing has to come along with that. So I have Dune winning, even though the editing was my biggest problem with the movie. Like, for the tech categories, if like voters aren't sure, their default is just going to be Dune.
that is true.
Like, I I don't know. I have Belfast picking up something later to add to its best picture package. I mean, spoilers. I think we both have Belfast winning. Spoilers,
Yes,
everybody.
it
But it's
does appear
fairly
we
obvious.
both have. Yeah, it
Like,
does appear that we are going that way.
nobody's not going to be predicting Belfast at this point.
Yeah,
Like, I is it 100% to win? No, but like at this point, you'd be kind of foolish not to go
I
with
don't know.
Belfast.
Did you see how well Halloween Kills did it? The critic, the People's Choice. I think it's got to be pushed up there now in my estimation.
I'm gonna remove him. Ugh. Um. Anyways, yeah, I think that Belfast is pretty strong in editing, though. I think it is the number 2. Um, and then after that, so I have Power of the Dog in here just because like they've been going for more subtle stuff recently. I think that Power of the Dog is gonna be a much bigger contender than people are thinking it is now. Comes out on Wednesday. I'm so excited to see it, at least in theaters. Netflix is December 1st. But very, very excited for this movie. I love Jane Campion. And we saw with Nomadland, like kind of these like neo-Western type films that are very like subtle and character focused and small. It got editing. So like there's precedent for it. Don't Look Up I could see happening. Like again, I know their reactions were good. I just still don't have a lot of faith in this movie. um, but like it's Adam McKay, so like the editing is going to be pretty strong. I just think that this is going to be his worst film. So
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
and then King Richard, I agree. Sports scenes, lots of editing. So yeah, I do have 4 honorable mentions here that I think could break in. Because I
Okay.
think editing's an interesting category. I think Tragedy of Macbeth could show up.
Right.
Um, I think that Licorice Pizza could show up if that movie is good. I do think that Don't Look Up could show up. I do have that in my honorable mentions at the number 8 slot. And the number 9 House of Gucci. That was much higher.
Yeah.
Um,
I had it in the category as well last time.
Yeah,
But that was one of the ones where I thought it was on the edge anyway of that category, so I
yeah.
thought I'd check it out.
Editing's going to be pretty strong this year. So it's going to be interesting. But you have Belfast, I have Dune. Cinematography. At least to me, I think that this is a pretty locked five. I
Okay,
have number 5, Belfast. Number 4, Nightmare Alley. Number 3, The Power of the Dog. Number 2, The Tragedy of Macbeth. Number 1, Dune.
okay, yeah, I caved on this one. I put in the tragedy of Macbeth. I didn't have it in last time, but I think I think I underestimated last time. I did put it in cinematography. I didn't have it winning like you did last time. I know you've changed that now to June,
Yeah.
and I would agree with you. I have June winning this category also, and we have the same nominations elsewhere as well: Belfast, Nightmare Alley, Power of a Dog, and Tragedy of Macbeth. And as I would agree, this is a pretty solid top five as of now. There are there are not many that can really come in and shake this category up. Actually, I don't think at this
I
point.
I want Spencer to get a nomination. Claire Mathon, that movie is one of the it's so beautiful visually. It's also shot in 16 millimeter,
Mhm.
which is like a really, really great choice. I think it's one of like the only Oscar contenders shot on film, especially 16 millimeter this year. It looks great. Also, there's only been one female cinematographer ever nominated in the history of the Oscars. So I really want this for Claire Mathon. I think Power of the Dog is also done by a female cinematographer. Ari Wegner, I think is her name. So we could see that, but I think Spencer's really great. I just don't know what drops out. Dune is great. I did take Tragedy of Macbeth out of winning. I have it at number 2 now. Even though I think that movie looks gorgeous. I hope that the Oscars can recognize that. But yeah, Dune's just incredible looking. Power of the Dog also looks great. It gives Nomadland vibes like I talked, but then also Jane Campion movies just always look really great. And then Nightmare Alley, very competently made from what it seems. And then Belfast is in black and white, and
Yeah.
it's gonna win Best Picture. So I don't really see as much as I would want Spencer to get in. I don't think I don't see what drops out to make room for Spencer.
No, yeah, I would agree. Maybe Nightmare Alley, if that is one of the ones that, if maybe it's not as well received as we are expecting, potentially. But at this point, I don't see it happening. I think this is a solid top five, and other films I don't think are gonna really contend for this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see Nightmare Alley flopping. I don't see
No,
that being the type of movie to flop. Don't Look Up, House of Gucci. I was kind of anticipating. At least House of Gucci. Don't Look Up. I don't know what's going on with that, but like I think Nightmare Alley looks pretty strong.
mm.
But Dune winning for each of us. We've agreed so far, mostly.
We have,
Um,
yeah.
all right, let's talk about best original song. There also might be a cat jumping onto the table at one point. Just throwing that out there. Best
Okay.
original song. Number 5, I have Don't Look Up from Don't Look Up. Number 4, I have Down to Joy from Belfast. Number 3, I have Something from Encanto. Number 2, by the way, for anybody out there, that is not the name of a song. It's
Yeah,
just one of the things from Encanto.
that's something I coined last show, just because I can't be bothered to look up what the song titles are. Something from it will get in.
There's gonna be some. Number 2, I have No Time to Die from No Time to Die, and number 1, Be Alive, King Richard. We have now heard Be Alive in the second trailer for King Richard, and it sounds good. All it had to be was good because it's Beyonce. So
Yeah. So I have Don't Look Up from Don't Look Up, something from Encanto, Be Alive, and then I feel this. I don't know why I put this in, but Guns Go Bang from Harder They Fall. I thought it was a brilliant song.
it's a good
So
song.
yeah, exactly. I enjoyed that film quite a bit, so I put it in. And then winning, I still have No Time to Die from No Time to Die,
Interesting.
because it's a Bond song. It's a good Bond song. It's a great Bond song. Even it's by a young up and coming artist. I just see it being a hit with Oscar voters. This is going to be a very tough year for Oscar voters voting in this category because Be Alive 2 sounded great, and it's by Beyonce. The other three, I think, are in the category, but they're not really contending. I think those are the two contenders at the moment. Maybe Don't Look Up, we heard again from the reactions that it's a big song and it plays a pivotal role in a certain scene. Maybe that one pushed it, but I think the top two contenders are definitely at this point No Time to Die and Be Alive, but just have No Time to Die sneaking the edge.
I mean, I could see Don't Look Up breaking in just because of the fact that it's also Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's going to be a very strong category. So you took out Down to Joy from Belfast for Guns Go Bang, correct?
I did, and maybe that's just a wish pick. I could see Down to Joy getting in, but I've not heard that song. I don't know if it is available anywhere. I haven't seeked it out or anything, but Guns Go Bang, just a great song. So
It is. It is. I mean, and here's the other thing with that. I don't see The Harder They Fall getting in anywhere else. I also
no,
really enjoyed that movie. But also the fact that James Samuel, I believe, is the director. He also did that song.
yeah, that was
Maybe
something I was going to bring up.
that's how they recognize him.
Yeah,
I think it's
that is a
possible.
tricky thing to do, like direct the
Yeah.
film and do the music for it.
He's doing a John Carpenter.
Yeah,
Another thing that I think is important to mention here is Every Letter from Serrano, especially since it was performed live on set. They like that kind of stuff. Um, Again, if Peter Dinklage were to get into actor, if he sings a song also, like that could help him.
yeah, that could help.
But no, I don't think that Guns Go Bang is a crazy pick. Like I'd probably put it at like number 7 or 8 for me. I definitely think that it's there. I think that's Darter They Fall's strongest Oscar player.
Yeah,
But yeah, I just Be Alive and No Time to Die is tough. We got some comments about this on our last video. People saying that No Time to Die would be stronger. So I I I think that I would go Be Alive just for the fact that like I don't know if they go with another Bond song.
no, maybe that is an argument that some could put against it. But I don't think that's really hurt it up to this point. So I don't really see why the last one from Daniel Craig is going to be changing that in any way. Especially, and since it is the last one from Daniel Craig, maybe this is where they recognize it for a win. Because I've got it nominated elsewhere, but maybe this is. I feel like they might want to give something to this, like a win. And I feel like this is the place to do it. And personal taste, I prefer No Time to Die. So
That's fair. I also just like love Billie Eilish. She's one of my favorite musical artists. But I don't know. It's also been out for like 2 years. Like it contended at the Grammys 2 years ago. So like, and it won at the Grammys 2 years ago. So like maybe it's like okay, we've already like awards bodies have already recognized this. Maybe we can move on because people got like super hyped for it. And then like it's just like okay, yeah, now everybody's heard this song like 20 times and now it's in a Bond movie. So I don't know. I think that it's really really tight. As of now, I'm still going with Be Alive, but that could change very quickly. One thing that's a massive indicator is so the composers like the Composers Guild Awards are happening, the Hollywood Music and Media Awards. Both of these are nominated. They announced their winners next week. So that could be like our first major indicator. Also, it's incredibly annoying. They didn't nominate a single thing for Annette in all of their awards. Annette did not get recognized at all.
yeah.
Which
Yeah,
I know
that's a shame because I didn't like the movie, but the score and soundtrack were brilliant. So that is a big shame.
especially like May We Start. Like I thought that's like I thought it had an outside Oscar shot. Like maybe randomly gets in. Like it's probably still at like number 10 or 11. But like yeah, the fact that it was completely ignored just annoying. All right, let's talk about more music. Original score. I think that these 5 are pretty locked for me. I have number 5, Nightmare Alley. Number 4, The French Dispatch. Number 3, The Power of the Dog. Number 2, Spencer. Number 1, Dune.
And again, we are agreeing today. I have the exact same Dune winning. I think we spoke about this extensively last time. The Dune score is amazing. And if it doesn't win, I'd actually be pretty upset if it doesn't win because
Yeah.
it's incredible. I've not heard the Spencer Power of a Dog or Nightmare Alley soundtracks. Maybe they are brilliant as well, but right now Dune is the winner. French Dispatch, it's a good soundtrack. I didn't like the film, but it's a good soundtrack, so I can see it getting in here. Spencer, Power of a Dog, I'm sure, and Nightmare Alley, I'm sure, are also good soundtracks as well. And yeah, this feels like a pretty solid 5 right now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that so Dune, like if it wins sound, I don't think there's any way it doesn't win score.
Mm.
I think that those things kind of have to go hand in hand. Um, the one thing is like Nightmare Alley could drop out. Like it isn't Alexander Desplat anymore. It's now
Yeah,
Nathan Johnson, I believe.
yeah. I
So
almost put Harder They Fallen, but then I realized that is definitely just a wish
that's
pick
a
because
wish pick.
that score is a great score. So
Yeah. Like I still think that these five are the strongest. Spencer and Power of the Dog, like I still see a double nomination from Johnny Greenwood. I've seen some people say No Time to Die and Hans Zimmer getting double
yeah.
nominated.
And again, we
Um,
mentioned it with sound earlier. Maybe Tick Tick Boom, if this is one
yeah,
that has a great score, it could easily get in because I don't think Nightmare Alley, sorry, is locked in.
yeah,
But it's definitely, in my opinion, right now, a solid choice for the
yeah.
fifth spot.
I think Tick Tick Boom is out this weekend in theaters. I know it's Netflix next weekend, but I'm pretty sure it's out in the theater or the cinema, depending on where you live. Um, but yeah, but I love the Spencer score. It's like a bunch of like jazz stuff, which was just like a lot of fun. And it plays a big role in the movie. Like without spoilers, there's a big scene where the music is just like swelling, and you're just like all of it. So it's a very very well done score. I don't see it winning. Like I don't see anything really beating Dune.
No.
I just that's way too strong. But let's uh let's move on to documentary now. Okay. So I have number 5, The Sparks Brothers, which is probably at this point just a wish list pick
Yeah.
because it hasn't been showing up anywhere. Um, but I'm still throwing it on here. Number 4, I have Ascension, which has been showing up absolutely everywhere, surprisingly. Number 3, I have Summer of Soul. Number 2, I have The Rescue, and number 1, I've got Flea.
Yeah, so I've got the same 4, but then I did take off Sparks Brothers and I put in Attica just because I've seen
Yeah,
it appear in a few places. So, it's one of those ones that you've seen before. Like, it's appeared here and there. So I thought, yeah, I'll throw it in because this was basically, I don't think Sparks Brothers is going to get in. What do I put in its
yeah,
place? But then, yeah, Ascension appeared more than we maybe expected, but
yeah,
it's probably going to appear in the Oscars now. Rescue, Summer of Soul, easily two that have been contending at the start, still contending now. And then Flea winning, I do have it nominated in another 2 categories. This is one I think they'll give it to for the win, though. I know you
yeah.
probably have it winning somewhere else.
I still maintain that I think Flea has a Best Picture shot. Like I legitimately do because I could see this showing up at PGA, like getting a PGA nomination, and that's its path. Like if it again, I think it has a shot to win 3 Oscars. Maybe
Yeah,
Best Picture goes along with that. I mean, I think it's easily top 2. I've been saying this forever. I think I'm very, very high on Flea. Sounds like a drug. But yeah, I think that The Rescue and Summer of Soul are right there. They're
yeah.
pretty neck and neck.
Even
Although,
Ascension now, I think
yeah,
it can be cast in there because we've seen it nominated in all the big documentary categories we've seen so far.
yeah. I mean, even The Rescue's missed a couple of places because we had the there was another documentary where the Cinema Eye Honors documentary awards happened yesterday. The nominations, and then there was one other thing. The International Documentary Award nominations are in 3 days, and then those are all of our documentary stuff. And it's still Summer of Soul, Flea, and Ascension that have been everywhere. Now, I still do think that The Rescue is pretty strong just because of TIFF, and it's also just the free solo people. So I still
Yeah.
think that's fairly strong, but like I think Ascension's pretty in there. I really do. again, Sparks Brothers is just wish list. Val definitely isn't happening anymore. Like Sparks
No.
Brothers has at least showed up some places. Like it got like 3 or 4 nominations at the Cinema Eye Honors Awards. Val got 0. Um, so like Val is just dead. Let's have
Yeah.
its funeral.
Yes.
I Sparks Brothers. I'm still like again. I'm just going off of maybe they want to recognize Edgar Wright somehow. Like maybe they're like
Yeah.
Edgar, you had a good you put out a couple movies this year. Some people like them. We'll give you a nomination.
But I feel he's going to put out more movies in the future, so maybe which could be better. I feel like they'll recognize it there. The Sparks Brothers just it's lost a lot of steam. So I
Yeah.
think that, and as I say, I don't know anything about Attica. It's just which one have I seen pop up the most common, so I put it in. There's no real. It could be anything really that we've seen pop up. I just don't think it'll be Sparks Brothers anymore. And as you said, Summer of Soul, I'd say he's probably number 2 right now. I don't know if
Yeah.
you agree with that, but yeah. So I'd say Flea winning though is because they're gonna give it something. I think Flea, especially
Yeah.
since I do still have it nominated in 3 categories. So I think they're gonna want to give it the win in at least one of them.
Yes. Yeah. I think another possible thing that could take that fifth spot as well is Lost Leonardo. I've been
Yeah,
hearing some things about that. So it's gonna be an interesting year for documentaries. But I do think that like Flea, The Rescue, Summer of Soul, and Ascension are pretty in there. All right. As Thomas just pointed out to me, I completely forgot to do hair and makeup. I'm not even going to try and edit this. We're just going to circle back.
yeah.
So makeup and hair. I I have number 5, Nightmare Alley. Number 4, Spencer. Number 3, The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Number 2, Dune. Number 1, House of Gucci.
So we've done a little switch because
Ooh.
you had Isaac Tammy Faye winning last
Mhm.
time. I've got it now winning this time. I had How to Beat You winning last time. You've now got it winning this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I was bought by your explanation of why the Isaac Tammy Faye will win the makeup category, and so I thought, yeah, that seems right. So I put it in here. Um, I also have June, Nightmare Alley, House of Gucci, Spencer as the others.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Isaac Tammy Faye will win, as argued by you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're like it was released way too early. Like all of like the campaigning they did with like the makeup and hair and like Jessica Chastain is like just kind of died off. Like I haven't heard about that movie in like a month. And like House of Gucci, everybody is talking about. So I just think by that and like the one thing that people have said is like Jared Leto's has a very transformative performance. I mean that's like a lot of makeup and hair. So it'll be interesting, but like I think that everything with the Eyes of Tammy Faye has completely died. I think that Andrew Garfield has absolutely no shot
Oh
anymore
yeah,
as supporting actor. It's just that movie had to be like a massive crowd pleasing hit, and like nobody saw it. Like I think that I was like in my theater, I went opening night, and then there were 2 other people there. So it needed to be a crowd pleaser. That's what the type of movie it was going for, and I just even though the makeup and hair is great, it's still probably my favorite of the year. I don't see it happening. But everything else we agree on. I mean, Nightmare Alley, Carnival stuff, Dune, space stuff, Spencer, lots of subtle makeup on Kristen Stewart. And then yeah, like it'll be interesting. It'll
yeah.
be
I
it'll be fun.
almost put in Being the Ricardos, but I didn't know which one to sub out, so I
Yeah,
left it off. I left it as number 6.
yeah. My number 6 right now is Cruella, with a number 7 being the Ricardos.
Mm.
But yeah, we've done a little switch, the
We had
princess switch, if you will. Um,
no.
all right, let's talk about international feature. So I have number 5, Titan, which France submitted. Yeah. Um, number 4, I have The Hand of God. Number 3, I have Flea. Number 2, I have A Hero. Number 1, The Worst Person in the World.
We are agreeing a lot today.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got the same. Worst person in the world winning. I had it winning last time. I don't think it's lost any steam. I think it is
No.
the front runner at the moment. Titan, I think, is too talked about to not get into this category. I think the sad thing is not necessarily all the best international features will be nominated for this category.
Totally
Oftentimes
agree.
it is the most nominated. No, the
Yeah,
most talked about. Sorry,
talked about. Yeah,
and Titan has been talked about. It's been quite a lot. So
which
I put it in here.
a great movie
Um,
though. Like
yeah, yeah,
Titanic is a great
I'm
movie.
sure it is, but the point still stands. The
Yeah,
most talked
like,
about often get in here. The Hand of God, Flea, a hero. They've been pretty much in this category from day one. There's still some that could get in. Drive My Car is the
yep,
one I'd say. There are
definitely.
some that could push this category. You know, it's not like these are an EV5 to choose.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Drive My Car is definitely there, but like seven prisoners just dropped out since Brazil didn't submit that. Parallel Mothers is gone. Like I like this group's been pretty whittled down. I think Compartment number 6 is also there. It got a lot of European Film Award nominations, which were released a couple days ago. That was mostly it was The Hand of God, um, Compartment number 6, and Titan that dominated. And Worst Person in the World, I think, just got like actors and screenplay, which was kind of surprising. So, like, it's a lot of Europe this year.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting, but I do think that these 5 are pretty safe with Worst Person in the World winning. All
Yeah.
right, let's talk about some animation. Number 5, I have Belle from Mamoru Hosoda. Number 4, I have The Mitchells vs. the Machines. Number 3, I've got Encanto. Number 2, I have Luca. And number 1, Flea is taking home its second Oscar.
Okay, so I same nominations. We had the same nominations last time this category as well. Nothing's really changed.
No.
But I have changed my winner, not to Flea though, to Luca. I have gone to Pixar. You know, tried and true. Pixar has won this category a lot. Luca was a pretty good film. I think it's a solid pick. It's a safe pick for them to go for if they do go for Luca. I could see them going for Flea. Flea, Encanto. This is a close category. This is a very close category. Last time I had Encanto, I've not seen any buzz for it like at all. I'm not really anticipating the film. I'm
Yep.
sure it will be good because it's Disney. It's not going to be bad. But you know, I want to see more reactions on that
Yeah.
before we do start to pick it as the winner. And as I said, Luca Pixar. Well, what's more to say?
You know what's really funny is that Variety had Encanto as their number 10 for Best Picture at the start of
Yes,
the
I
like
remember
in
you
like
saying.
May.
Yeah,
Yeah, not happening. By the way.
no,
So I do think though, if an animated film is going to get into Best Picture, it's going to be Flea,
yes, I would agree with that.
which is why I've
Given the,
selected it for animated, like to win animated feature. Like,
I don't think I just think there'll be more eyes on Luca come Oscar season. Well, I just think Pixar has developed a formula that works and that has proven to win this category a lot. And you know, I say that with resent. I love Pixar, and I think this is one of the ones that is going to win. I mean, it feels like a very Oscar friendly film.
I have a counter argument. One word: neon.
Yeah,
They're campaigning for Flea.
yeah.
They're going to get eyes on the movie. If they could get Parasite to win Best Picture, they can get this to win animated feature. I, I mean, we've
I think
talked
it's
about
close. I think it's close. I
yeah,
think I will. It will need to be like January and Flea is number one. In which case, I'll start putting Flea as number one. But as of now, I'm going with the safer choice, and I'm going with Luca.
yeah. I mean, like we talked about with like international, neon kind of has a monopoly over that category between like the worst person in the world, and having Titan and a hero, and I think I believe they have a hero and Flea. Like they have a lot, so it like I don't think they give it to Flea there, but then they campaign it like really really hard in animated and documentary. So it'll be interesting. Be very very interesting. But I have a lot of faith in Flea. I think the number 6 right now is Raya still. If anything was going to break into this category, it was going to be Ron's Gone Wrong, and that didn't happen. Um,
Mm.
Again, you still have Where Is Anne Frank, but like as far as the non-US pick, like the weirder pick that they usually have, I think it's Belle. pretty safely, especially since it's Mamoru Hosada's last film, and they've nominated him before for Mirai. Like, I just think that it's looking pretty strong to get in. Like, at this point, what else is getting in? Sing 2?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Well, the trailer for Sing 2, it did look pretty good.
it
It
looks
did look
very good.
Yeah, I was like, Illumination is stepping up their game. Then I remembered, oh no, wait, it's Illumination. No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
but who knows?
Trailer
It might shock us. I would love it to shock us.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's a very well done trailer. Will that translate to good film? I don't know. Suicide Squad had a good trailer, but like
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see. All right. Now we have adapted screenplay. I have number 5, The Lost Daughter. Number 4, Coda. Number 3, Nightmare Alley. Number 2, King Richard. Number 1, The Power of the Dog.
What do you have winning? Sorry.
Power of the Dog.
Okay, so we have the same winner then. I put Power of the Dog winning. I did have Asaguchi winning last time. Again,
Yeah.
mixed reception. Dropped it. It's still in the category because
Okay.
it was either Hasaguchi or Passing for me. Because I mean, or Coda. You know, there are a few that could get in. I still think like Hasaguchi, it could get into screenplay. So I still have it in there. And then Lost Daughter, Nightmare Alley, King Richard. At this point, that it's a solid 3. I think Lost Daughter.
Yeah.
It was on the bubble a couple of weeks back. It's done really well in the Gotham Awards. It feels
Yeah.
more now like an Oscar contender. So I put it in to adapted screenplay. King Richard, I think crowd pleasing movie. Tips for Best Picture. It's probably going to get in. Nightmare Alley, the same, pretty much. It's probably going to get into this category. And yeah, Hasaguchi's the one I'm a bit more ropey on. But I just think the love for Coda has died down completely. And I didn't want to put Tragedy of Macbeth in because of the Shakespeare business.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be something the Oscars go for. So I went with it as the default option.
Yeah, adapted screenplay is stacked though, especially again since King Richard has moved into the category. Like I listed 5 honorable mentions for this category of movies that I think have a solid chance to still get in. But yeah, I mean like King Richard, it's been like surprisingly more well received than I thought it would be. The Power of the Dog, like this is how they honor Jane Campion. They aren't going to give her director. I don't think she gets picture. But this is how they honor her with a screenplay award. And then, yeah, I agree. Nightmare Alley. The Lost Daughter did amazing at the Gothams. And again, I think this is just how they recognize Maggie Gyllenhaal. And then, yeah, I still have Coda in there. I still have hope. I really want, I really wanted to get in. But yeah, so my honorable mentions here are Tragedy of Macbeth, House of Gucci, West Side Story, Passing, and The Humans. So like, okay, I feel like The Humans, like, even though I think it is still Oscar eligible, since like the rumor happened that it wasn't, like everybody's forgotten about it.
Yeah, I forgot it existed.
Yeah, I still think it has a shot, but like, it's significantly weakened.
Yeah.
West Side Story is like they don't give it to musicals. So unless it's like great, I mean, it's an adaptation of a musical.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet. So I can see them just looking over this one completely. And then Dune as well. When it came out, it's a mess. It's not a messy screenplay, but it doesn't feel like a complete screenplay necessarily. And that's not what you go into the movie looking for. You know, Dune is not a screenplay movie.
No.
So that's why I dropped out of the category.
Yeah, like I'd honestly like it isn't even in my top 10 for adapted screenplay.
No.
I think that its chances are very, very low here. It's much more of a directing and technical movie than it is like a screenplay and acting movie. But yeah, like I think Tragedy of Macbeth has a shot if like it's really, really great. House of Gucci, like maybe. But it depends. It really does depend on what the audience reaction is. But yeah, I think that Power of the Dog is pretty strong, and there's a fairly strong bunch of the other nominees. King Richard, Nightmare Alley, and The Lost Daughter are pretty much our consensus, I would say. So original screenplay comparatively is like so weak.
Yes. Now that King Richard has dropped out, there's like 3 that I'm confident on will get in, and then 2 I'm like they probably wouldn't get in any other year.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have three. I think we can agree on our three. I have Licorice Pizza winning with Belfast and Don't Look Up. Or sorry, I have Belfast winning. Excuse me. I have Belfast winning with Licorice Pizza and Don't Look Up as my top
Yeah,
three.
I have Don't Look Up winning with Belfast and Licorice Pizza as the other two.
Interesting. You have Don't Look Up winning. Is it because of the
Yeah,
reactions?
it was because of the reactions. I just go completely with the reactions. When I hear them, I was like, yeah, that they are right. They are now the truth. So yeah, I've put it as a win. As winning this category. It feels like a screenplay movie. I'd say actually, weirdly enough, Licorice Pizza is probably my number two, and Belfast number three. Although those three, as we say, are solidly in now at this point. There is nothing that is knocking those three off.
No, no. I have
No,
Belfast winning because you have Belfast winning editing, correct?
yeah.
So this for me is Belfast's like added package to go with
Okay.
the picture. Yeah, I just spoilers. PTA is not winning director. I don't. I think PTA is gonna not win anything again,
Yep.
sadly. But I don't see it happening. Like I have Licorice Pizza at number two. Don't Look Up is probably more probable. But like Licorice Pizza is safer number two, I think, right now. Just because I'm still very skeptical of Don't Look Up. But like those three are very much in. I'm curious to see what you have at your other two because I have Mass and Come On, Come On.
I have Mass and then being the Ricardos. I have kept in there. I had it in last time as well. It's again, it's a weak category.
Yeah, I went with Come On just because Mike Mills was nominated for 20th Century Woman. And like I don't know, there's been a lot of backlash about being the Ricardos
Mm.
online, so we'll
Okay.
see. I think that A Hero and The French Dispatch are also there. Like something international, maybe The Worst Person in the World. I like we could see an international screenplay get in. Like it's so
We did.
weak.
Yes. Like Mass, I was looking at, I was thinking, okay, Mass is probably not going to get much. We haven't heard anything from it. Oh no, I'm going to have to give it an original screenplay
Yeah,
nomination just because there's nothing else.
yeah,
Like, I did even think about, yeah, as you said, going for an international feature, but then I thought, I'd say Mass is probably more likely, but I
yeah.
don't think Mass would get in any other year.
No, no, this is a really weird screenplay year. Like everything isn't adapted.
Mm.
It's fun. Like we can see stuff like Mass and Come On, or like something international get in, which
Yeah.
is exciting. It makes for a really interesting race. But just like having only three of the five be Best Picture contenders is really weird.
Mm.
All right. Let's get into some acting. All right. I will say I went a little out there with my two supporting picks for wins.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I have number five Marley Maitland for Coda. Number four, Ann Dowd, Mass, which I think is its only other shot. Number three, Kirsten Dunst, The Power of the Dog. Number two, Catriona Belfast. And number one, winning, I have Ingenue Ellis for King Richard.
Okay. So I have Katarina Balfe winning for Belfast, but I didn't drop Judi Dench out. She's still in the category. We're double nominating Belfast in this category. And then the other three are Andoud, Angelina Ellis, and Kristen Dunst.
So I think you have Judi Dench instead of Marley Maitland. Other than that, we agree. Which I think that Marley Maitland is easily the weakest. I think
Yeah.
Ariana DeBose for West Side Story and Ruth Negga are also there.
Yeah, I'd nearly put Ruth Negga in, but I think Judi Dench is Judi Dench, so I put her back
Okay,
in the category.
like,
I
from
did
what I've
drop her out,
heard, she's like in the movie for like 10 minutes and she does nothing.
but she's Judi Dench.
She's not Meryl Streep.
No,
And Meryl Streep isn't going to get nominated for Don't Look Up. Like,
no, but it's Judi Dench and she's in Belfast. I I just see it happening. Yeah, Ruth Negga is probably my sixth spot. And then the other four we agree on. I have Katarina Balfe winning for Belfast
yeah,
because it's Belfast.
yeah. I think this is a very wide open race to win, though. Like that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah,
have something like somebody like Ingenue Ellis taking home the win. I mean, like any one of these four, Ingenue Ellis, Catriona Balfe, Kirsten Dunst, and Dowd, I think any one of them could win, like hypothetically. I think they're all very close. I think this is probably the closest race of the year aside from supporting actor, which I think is
yeah.
even closer. Um, but I think that those four are pretty locked in, and then we have that last spot, which won't be Judi Dench, but will be something.
I
Again,
don't
I
know why I'm
have.
fighting so hard for Judi Dench, but we'll go with it.
I listen. I still have faith in Marley Maitland, which is probably just as foolish as Judi Dench. Um, I I I love Coda. And apparently you love Judi Dench, so like, um, but yeah, it'll be interesting that last spot. I like Ruth Nega is probably the safest pick out of all of them. In complete honesty, she's also just very good in passing.
Yeah, she is.
Um, she's probably like she has like the most like liveliest role, and brings a lot of like the fun to the film, which is like typical Oscar supporting pick. But you're going with Katrina Balfe, who's my number two. I'm going with Ingenue Ellis and King Richard. All right, supporting actor. I will preface this by saying I have five honorable mentions here as well because I think that this is incredibly wide open. But number five, I have Bradley Cooper, Licorice Pizza. Even though like he's basically just Judi Dench in the movie for 10 minutes and does nothing, but it's okay. Number four, I have Kieran Hines, Belfast. Number three, I have Cody Smith McPhee, Power of the Dog. I'll explain. Number two, I have Richard Jenkins, The Humans. I think this is where it does stay in. And then number one, I have Jared Leto, House of Gucci. I'm sticking with it, even
Okay.
after the reactions.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to explain Cody Smith McPhee to me. He's in mine as well.
Okay.
I've also put. Now this is where it could either be Kieran Hines or Jesse Plemons. I think one of those films are going to get double nominated here. I've put in Jesse Plemons. Like last time I didn't decide. I just put them both in like
Yeah.
one spot. Jared Leto and Bradley Cooper I both have in, and then winner they're going to get both supporting categories. Jamie Dornan for Belfast.
So you're double nominating Belfast for both supporting like
No,
categories and you've been winning both? Or
yeah,
no,
no,
sorry,
I,
you
I,
said
I
like
didn't put Kieran Hines in, but
yes,
he's
okay,
close.
got it. He's your number six. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm sticking with Jared Leto. Like that's like the one thing that everybody's loving. That and Lady Gaga. And I think supporting actor is super wide open and it could happen. And then Jared Leto would be a two-time Oscar winner and Amy Adams would still have zero, which is depressing. But yeah, like I know. I think so. Why did you take Richard Jenkins off, or did you ever have him to begin with?
Never had him to begin with. I just think that The Humans is a non-entity at this point. No one's talking about it. No one's really seen it, I don't think, and no one probably will be actively searching for it come Oscar times. So I just think it'll go completely under the radar.
It needs to get indie spirits to stay alive. Like I don't know if it was eligible for the Gothams, but like it needs indie spirits, otherwise it's dead. But
Mm.
I'm sticking with it for now, but Richard Jenkins could definitely drop off. Yeah, Cody Smith McPhee, like I've heard nothing but great things about him. Karen Hines, also nothing but great things. Bradley Cooper, probably on the bubble, but like he's Bradley
Yeah.
Cooper.
Especially since I don't have him in for Best Actor for Nightmare Alley. So I think they will want to nominate him somewhere, and this feels like a good spot to go for.
Yeah. My honorable mentions, my top two, which I think could also very well make it in, are Jamie Dornan in Belfast and Jason Isaacs in Mass. And then the other three, which I think are more on the outside, are Jesse Plemons, Power of the Dog, John Bernthal, King Richard, and Andrew Garfield, Eyes of Tammy Faye. Maybe I I completely dropped him out. The Andrew Garfield of anything, like he's down to my number 10 now. I still think he like exists, but not very strongly. John Bernthal's been kind of picking up some hype. I'll be curious once the movie picks out what people think, but like people are really liking him. But yeah, so I have Jared Leto, and you have who do you have?
Jamie
You picked
Dornan.
so
Jamie
okay, so
Dornan.
your winner I don't even have nominated,
No. Okay. Yeah.
which is interesting. But like that just goes to show, like with this category, I think there are seven people: Jared Leto, Richard Jenkins, Cody Smith McPhee, Karen Hines, Bradley Cooper, Jamie Dornan, Jason Isaacs. I think can all get in, and then you also have Jesse Plemons, which is my number 8. So like it's very wide open. Like not only
Yeah.
could any of them get in, any of them could win.
Yeah.
Like I would not
Oh
be
yeah.
shocked if any of them won.
Again,
So
I went with Jamie Dornan primarily because it's Belfast.
yeah,
There's, I could have gone with Jared Leto. I don't think that's as wide out there as you think. I think he has a good shot. I think he really does. And then I think I just thought maybe the power of the dog people might split the vote and take them both out. The equation saves me having to pick one. And then Bradley Cooper as well. He's not in the movie that much from what we heard, but he could still win.
yeah. I mean, it could literally be anybody at this point. All right, best actress. I have number 5, Olivia Colman, The Lost Daughter, who I think got a big boost after the Gothams. All right, number 4. This one's probably my most out on the limb pick. I am sticking with Penelope Cruz and Parallel Mothers.
Yep, that's quite out there.
I'll explain. Number 3, I have Lady Gaga and House of Gucci. 2, Jessica Chastain, Isa Tammy Faye. 1, Kristen Stewart Spencer. I think that those 3 are locked.
Yeah, I've got the
Honorable
same winner
mention.
as well. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead with honorable
Oh,
mentions.
sorry. Yeah. Honorable mentions. I have Nicole Kidman and Being the Ricardos, and then Jennifer Hudson. Respect.
Yep, so I've got Nicole Kidman in, replacing obviously Penelope Cruz, who's not going to get into this category.
Wait.
But then, yeah, I've got Olivia Colman, Lady Gaga, and Jessica Chastain in, and then Kristen Stewart currently winning for Spencer. I could see some backlash happening, like come Oscar time, that Kristen Stewart won't win.
Yeah.
But as of now, I think she's a solid choice.
Yeah. I don't see her losing. Like after seeing Isa Timmy Faye without seeing Spencer, I thought maybe Jessica Chastain had a shot, but there's no shot. Kristen Stewart loses. Like very small chance Kristen Stewart does not win this.
Hmm.
So okay. So Penelope Cruz. I will I will explain why. After Parallel Mothers was not submitted, there has been like a surge for Penelope Cruz. She shot up on Gold Derby. She went from like 9 to like number 3 or something like that.
She's
Uh,
number
the,
3 right now. I didn't even
the
realize that. Yeah.
the experts pick on Gold Derby has her at number 2. Like I don't know why, but she is like shot up. I know Next Best Picture, which are like major Oscars uh, pick predictors, I guess. I believe they have her in at number 4. Like there's been, I don't know why, but there has been a massive surge in Penelope Cruz hype after Parallel Mothers wasn't submitted. So I have her in right now. I don't know if she can ride this hype wave all the way to the Oscars. Probably
So
not.
it's a long wave. It's going to have to be.
But as of now, I I have faith in it. So we'll see. Though
Yes.
it's definitely my most out there pick.
Yes.
All right. But we agree on Kristen Stewart winning. All right. Best actor. This is an interesting one. So I have number 5, Bradley Cooper, getting in for Nightmare Alley. Just barely.
Okay.
But I think that this last spot, I have 4 people that like. Okay, I'll be completely honest. I couldn't decide between them, so I just randomly picked one, and it was Bradley Cooper.
Okay.
The other 3 being Adam Driver, House of Gucci, Leonardo DiCaprio, Don't Look Up, and Joaquin Phoenix. Come on, come on. Any one of those 4, I think, could take this last spot. Even like Andrew Garfield to some extent, and Tick Tick Boom is probably my number 10. But number 4, I think top 4 are locks: Peter Dinklage, Serrano. Number 3, Benedict Cumberbatch, The Power of the Dog. Number 2, Denzel Washington, Tragedy of Macbeth. Number 1, Will Smith, King Richard.
Yeah, I didn't make any changes to this category from last time. I also have Will Smith winning for King Richard, and like last time, Leonardo DiCaprio in that sort of 5th out
Yeah,
there spot as well. Benedict Cumberbatch, Denzel Washington, Peter Dinklage. Those 4 seem pretty solid right now.
yeah,
I guess you'd say Peter Dinklage is the weakest of those
yeah.
4,
I'd agree.
but I still think he gets in. And Leonardo DiCaprio, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. And Don't Look Up, again, going based on only the reactions alone from a pretty small group of critics, we're
20 people.
putting him in again.
Yeah, I again, like I think that's it's Bradley Cooper versus Adam Driver versus Leonardo DiCaprio versus Joaquin Phoenix versus Andrew Garfield. I mean, I could totally see Garfield and Driver also getting kind of surges because they were in multiple movies this year that people liked. So that maybe is just like here's like your award for the year. Here's your nomination for the year. Is also a possibility. So it's that last spot is very very interesting.
Mm.
I don't quite know where it's going yet, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think that Will Smith and Kristen Stewart, like it's so weird. I feel like with the lead categories with Will Smith and Kristen Stewart, like they're pretty locked, and then supporting categories, we just have absolutely no clue.
Yes. Yeah, that is true.
All right, two left. Best director. Number 5, PTA, Licorice Pizza. Number 4, Guillermo del Toro, Nightmare Alley. Number 3, Denis Villeneuve, Dune. Number 2, Jane Campion, Power of the Dog. Number 1, Kenneth Branagh, Belfast. I switched out. I believe I had Campion winning last time, but I
Would you
haven't
look
done it.
at that? We are agreeing once again.
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh winning. I did switch Guillermo del Toro out. I
Yeah.
still think he has a good chance. I actually do think Jane Campion is now probably my number 2 because instead of sharing Nightmare Alley Belfast, I could see them sharing Belfast, Power of the Dog, giving one
Yeah.
of the major awards to each of them. I did put in PTA just because I didn't know which other foreign director they'll go for. Julie, I don't recall her
Duker
name.
now. Duker now.
Ducanel. She's probably the best shot at the moment.
Yeah.
But again, it's a problem of if Titan's not going to win Best Foreign Language Film, which I don't think it will, I
No.
don't see them putting the director in for it. So I did put PTA in, and then Denis Villeneuve and Guillermo del Toro are pretty solid choices. Kenneth Branagh directed Belfast. Belfast is, spoilers, going to win Best Picture.
It's going to win Best Picture. Yeah. I mean, like Nightmare Alley and Dune are like the most directed movies of the year with for Denis and Guillermo. Campion is like she's my number 2. I just think that like people are gonna love Power with the Dog. Like I think most people are. Like I just think it looks really strong. And then yeah, Kenneth Branagh directed Belfast. Like it's just going to win. It's so yeah, I have PTA in for now. I think that he's definitely the weakest of the bunch.
Yeah,
Um, so my 3 honorable mentions. My number 6 is Joel Cohen for Tragedy of Macbeth because there's a lot of directing going on there. It just depends on how people perceive the movie. I have Spielberg at number 7 just because he's Steven Spielberg, and then my
yeah.
number 8 currently is Julia Ducournau for Titan. Just one that's also kind of wish list, but then I'm hoping. Like I think it does have a chance.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
think he's got a chance. Yeah, I would agree.
agreeing on Brenna. All right, Best Picture. So I briefly like to shout out my 4 honorable mentions are Coda, Come On, Spencer, and Flea. With my Best Picture being number 10, I still have Don't Look Up, just hanging on. Same with House of Gucci at number 9. I have those two like just barely hanging on at the bottom. Number 8, The Tragedy of Macbeth. 7, West Side Story. 6, Nightmare Alley. 5, Licorice Pizza. 4, Dune. 3, King Richard. 2, The Power of the Dog. Number 1, winning Best Picture, Belfast.
Okay, so we are pretty similar here with one change, I think, and that is I had not put in Tragedy of Macbeth, and instead I have gone with past has shown that one Gotham Awards nomination usually gets into Best Picture. So that I've gone Lost Daughter. I've put Lost Daughter
Nice.
in Best Picture. It's got the screenplay nomination. It's got the actress
Actor.
nomination. So I don't see why it doesn't get into Best Picture. So I have put it in. As you mentioned, House of Gucci hanging on there. But I do still have it in the category. I'd say Spencer, I guess,
Yeah.
is my number 11
Yeah.
right now. But I don't really see it getting in. Just because it doesn't really have anything outside of Kristen Stewart and costume production design, that sort of area. It doesn't have a screenplay. It doesn't have any other supporting actors. So I just don't see it really pushing for Best Picture. And then, yeah, Belfast is going to win right now. I could see by the time Oscar comes, I don't think it's a clean road for Belfast.
No.
I think Licorice Pizza still to come out.
Nightmare
Nightmare
Alley.
Alley is still to come out.
Yeah.
Don't Look Up is still to come out. So, there's still a lot. West Side Story as well. There's still a lot to come out. Could shake things up. I don't think it's a clean road for the win for Belfast. But right now, it is a solid choice. And it's the one any Oscar prediction should be going for.
Yeah, no, Belfast is easily the strongest. So we're agreeing on Belfast. I think that bottom group, Tragedy of Macbeth, House of Gucci, Don't Look Up, is probably the weakest, most subject to change with like Spencer, The Lost Daughter, Chili Flea coming in. I think Come On also has a shot if it can squeak into screenplay and actor. So that's also there. But yeah, pretty consensus. We're getting a little closer in our
Yeah,
predictions, but
a little
that
more
is
correct, maybe.
maybe more correct, maybe just more wrong. But
Yeah.
those are our picks for our Oscars predictions. Thomas, anything you'd like to say before we head out?
You can go follow me on YouTube at Paymons Pictures, Paimons. I release weekly videos, and I'm currently reviewing each Doctor Who episode as they come out in alignment with Doctor Who Series 13. So go
Nice,
check me out.
nice. Yeah, you're on this channel, so I won't plug it. But you can also find me on Letterboxd at Trevor Matson, and you can find Thomas at Thomas Gladstone. But thank you everybody so much for listening. We'll probably do another one of these soon, and we're going to be coming back with our weekly podcast about Oscar stuff because Oscars are fun, and we just want to shout about how bad the Golden Globes are more. So thank you
Yes,
everybody for listening.
that
Until
is the
next time.
primary. That is the focus of the show.
Yeah. Oh,
It's not about
absolutely.
Oscars. We
No,
like you. It's not really called Oscar Buzz.
it's Golden Globes suck. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody for listening. Until next time, stay safe and goodbye.